How's it going, guys? We are back with another video, and this one will be of the NHL almost halfway through predictions. This is like the fifth try I've been doing this. I've either lost connection for some reason or I've been interrupted. Let's hope that this is the last try, but let's just jump right into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Eastern Conference in this video. I'm going to do the Western Conference in another video, and I will also do predictions like this two-thirds of the way through the season, when the Devils play their 32nd game, and at the end of the season I'll do solely playoff predictions. And we're just going to jump in here division by division. I'm going to start with the Atlantic Division. And so first, I'm going with my favorite team, though, the New Jersey Devils. I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and there's a reason why. Look at this. Sidney Crosby, 30 points in 20 games. Chris Kunitz, 23 points in 20 games. Evgeny Malkin, 21 points in 18 games. James Neal, even 20 for 20. That's four players with at least a point a game. Then you got Paul Martin, a defenseman who has 15 points in 20 games. A defenseman. One of the top defensemen in the game. Right now, anyway. In net, I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury's been doing what he's been asked to do. And there's nothing to complain about there. And I think that they're just going to continue that run. And my prediction is that they have 61 points, right? They're going to have 29 wins and 61 points, 3 overtime losses. So that's very good for them. Next, I've got New Jersey, the New Jersey Devils. Now the Devils, they're on a little bit of a slump, but you know what? You look at the players that are on their team, and they're collectively very good. Clarkson, Elias, and Covey are all players that are either a point a game or could be a point a game. In fact, Elias is, I think, the only point a game player, actually. But these are guys who could very well, make some noise. And Adam Henrique, you get a guy, look at his shot percentage. It's almost a quarter. He scored 4 goals, and he's taken, 17 shots? Another very good. And Hedberg is, I think, really the only weakest link. I mean, he's not a great backup. And then you got Marty Brodeur. I mean, Marty's just insane. I mean, I don't care how old he is. He'll always be my favorite. And he's doing amazing this year. And I predict that the Devils will be the next team in the Atlantic Division. Second place, 59 points, 25 wins. All right, now the bottom of the Atlantic Division. My next prediction is sort of bold. Right now, you've got the Flyers sitting a game below 500. You've got the Rangers sitting at 500. You've got the Islanders way down there. I'm going with the Rangers in third place. And here's why. I think that all it takes to get going is for guys like, Michael Del Zotto to get out of an injury. Or Ryan McDonough to get out of an injury. Rick Nash when he comes back. Marian Gaborik is a guy who right now is just doing wonders for them. And a guy like Nash getting injured kills you, because he's only scored 3 goals. But then you've got a guy like Carl Hagelin, and he's doing everything great. So, I mean, the Rangers, they really just need to put pieces of the puzzle together. They've got all the pieces. Next year, the Rangers are going to be a good team. But right now, they just don't know how to handle this situation. They're putting together a bunch of weird different pieces. But I think that it'll come together by the end of the year. Lundqvist's not having such a great year. That might turn around. But I'd say they get 50 points, which is sort of a gift. I'd say they get 50 points and 22 wins, leaving them with 6 OT losses. Next, I'm going to say the New York Islanders. And why? Well, the Islanders, they've had some sort of interesting season. They've sort of finally realized that Rick DiPietro isn't good. They sent him down to the minors, and I think he's there for good. They've got a goalie named Evgeny Nabokov, who they're playing most of their games with, and he's doing great. He is doing great for a team like the New York Islanders. They got 2 players who are over 5, who have at least a point a game, and that's Johnny Tavares and Matty Molson, and they are lighting it up. Not to mention Brad Boyes. I mean, he has 15 points in 20 games, and on defense they got Mark Streit, who has 10 points in 20 games. But the biggest worry right now for the New York Islanders is, can they get a bunch of wins rolling? And I don't know if they can get a bunch of wins rolling. I don't think that they will. I mean, the Islanders, they're not very good in giving up goal. I mean, their defense is when it comes to defensive defensemen. And so that's what I think with that. Now, I predict that the New York Islanders will have 45 points and have 21 wins. So that's my prediction for them. The last place in the Eastern Conference goes to Philly. And Philly, it isn't looking good. They're getting desperate. They're getting old guys back. They're getting a guy like, you're getting a guy like Simone Gagne back. But listen, I mean, they've got some good players like Voracek and Giroux. Don't get me wrong. I just think they're going to have some slump along the way. I mean, Brizgalov has not looked impressive this season so far. I mean, he's been all right, but he hasn't been different than his normal self. And I think they're going to slump along the way. And we got a 44-point season for them with only 20 wins. Now, so that was the Atlantic Division. The Atlantic Division done. We're going to move on to the Northeast Division now. The Northeast Division has impressed me completely. This is the division that should be one of the top teams because it's got, these Canadian teams. And it's got a team like Boston, who's an original Six Classic. They won the Cup a couple years ago, if you don't remember. And first place, I picked those very Boston Bruins. They're 12-2-2 so far. The only team that's got less losses in regulation and overtime combined than them is the Chicago Blackhawks. So, I mean, Boston, they've got a great team. They are collectively doing it right now. They've got 6 players with at least 10 points, right? Their top 6 players have at least 10 points in the 16 games that they've played, and that is just extremely good. And they've got a guy like Brad Marchand who scored 10 goals on 29 shots. You know how good of a shot percentage that is? That is just crazy. You've got guys that are just working hard on D there. Chara and Dougie Hamilton. What a rookie. That's a Rookie of the Year candidate right there, Dougie Hamilton. In net though, this is another big story. Tuukka Rask, the Took. He's been doing great. A 1.89 goals against average. I mean, man, that's just crazy. 10-1-2 also to boot. He's doing really well there. And so that is the Boston Bruins. I predict that the Bruins will go a great 65 points with 30 wins and 5 OT losses. Next, do not shortchange this next team who's currently in first place, who played more games than the Boston Bruins by 4. That is the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens are another one of those teams who are just a collective awe. They sort of don't have the one. They don't really have a guy who's like at a point of game status really, except for Pacioretty. But they've got their top 7 players have at least 10 points. So that's very good. And their top 11 players have at least 9 points. So what does that tell you? You get production from a guy like Rafael Diaz and Andrei Markov, and it's great. I mean, it's amazing. Plus, I mean, it doesn't hurt when you have Carey Price in net, who's under 2 goals against, and it was over .292 save percentage, and he has a pair of shots to boot. So the Canadiens, a great start with Michel Therrien, and let's keep it coming, Montreal. They got 60 points with 28 wins. Next, I move on to the third place team, which will be the Ottawa Senators. Now, the Ottawa Senators are a team that's impressed me just a little bit more than what I thought. I thought the Senators would be the team where they're at now, just with more scoring and less goaltending. Well, it's the opposite. It's less scoring. They've got a guy like Kyle Turris leading them, nowhere near a point a game, right? But they've got Craig Anderson, who's injured right now, but Ben Bishop's playing a great backup, leading the league in goals against average, 1.49. That's unheard of. .952 save percentage. We're looking like back to the days of Alec Connell of the Senators in the 20s. That's what we're looking at right here. I mean, this is just crazy. Ottawa's doing very well. I like what they're doing, but just offensive production. And plus their injuries, man. They've got some injuries of players like Jason Spezza. It was huge. Plus middle guys like McCulloch and Latendresse and Carlson too. That is what killing them, the Ottawa Senators right now, their injuries. And I predict they go 56 points with 26 wins. Very reasonable. And so that's that. All right. Next, we've got a team that has really done well after firing Brian Burke, and that's the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've done well with Randy Carlyle at their helm. If you remember, last season Randy Carlyle took over. Wasn't really a great mesh, went 6-9. Woo, 6-9. Woo! But all kidding aside, their biggest star right now is Nazem Kadri. The guy is just crazy. Nazem Kadri is a star. I mean, he really is. From the moment I saw him last season first play, I knew this guy one day is going to be a star. And you know what? That day is right now because he's doing great. Then you've got another guy like Phil the Thrill, getting 16 points. And then you got JVR, baby, with 15 points. You have Nazem Kadri doing it all. Phil Kessel with the assists. JVR, baby, with the goals. You've got everything you need. Don't look at this filthy second line. Tyler Bozak, Nikolai Kumelin, and then you got Matt Fratton. Same deal. This is just a great series of offense. The only problem is their defense. Their goaltending's been okay. It's their defense that has sort of been screwing them up a little. They've given up a little bit too much out in front. Their goals against is good, but you know what? I think it's those. They lose those small games. They lose a lot of those small games. Like, look at this. They lost to Ottawa 3-2. They lost 4-2 to Tampa. They lost 3-1 to Carolina. These are all, winnable games that they could have won. Buffalo 2-1. They lose some one-goal games. And, they let games slip away from them. I think it's just a matter of, making mistakes, honestly. But I think Toronto will continue to kind of do that, unfortunately. And so I think that they'll get 53 points and 25 wins. Still a good end to the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. All right, last place. This is a big disappointment. I mean, the Buffalo Sabres. Really? Guys, Buffalo, this is a team 2 years ago who rivaled, beating the number 2 seed Philly. Now you're going to tell me that Buffalo is the bottom of the pack? This has just been Lindy Ruff is, Lindy Ruff, not their coach anymore. I don't know. Yeah, he's not their coach. I was wondering, is it after this season? I don't know. But Thomas Vanek has just been playing tops. Thomas Vanek, Cody Hodgson, and Jason Pominville have just been playing great. Unfortunately, it's everyone else who's been kind of lacking. Look at these plus-minus ratings. Even Hodgson and Pominville have minuses. Marcus Foligno, -5. Drew Stafford, -7. Tyler Myers, -6. Jordan Leopold, -7. Aren't these big names? Jordan Leopold, Tyler Myers, Christian Ehrhoff, who's actually a plus. Aren't those big names? With Ehrhoff aside, why they should be producing. A guy like Drew Stafford and Steve Ott. They got a guy like Steve Ott. He's been a plus, fine, but he's been in the penalty box more than he's been more than he could ever be a help for them. He could be a lot more. But you know what? Ryan Miller, another situation where the guy's been lacking. And I just got to believe that this team, I don't know, it's weird. Buffalo goes in funks. They really do. You look at back in the 90s, they were great. Then you go to 01, 02 to 03, 04. They missed the playoffs those consecutive years. 2 conference final appearances. Missed the playoffs for 2 consecutive years. Make the playoffs for 2 consecutive years. I don't know. Who knows? I don't predict them well at all, though. I predict them with 40 points and 19 wins. All right. That's the Northeast Division done. We move on to the Southeast, and the Southeast Division looks like this. You got a bunch of teams cluster-fucking together. That's what it is. That's why it's tough to predict a 48-game season. So, guys, please don't knock me, honestly, because this is very tough. You look at this division. All the teams are too close together. But it's a tough decision. But in the end, I picked that the number 1 team in the Southeast Division will be the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that recently has been doing very well. They started off their season not so good. And then they've done very well, but recently they've sort of tailed off a little bit. But I think that they'll prevail just for the simple reason of more of a gut feeling than anything. I mean, I don't know. I just think that I love what Kirk Muller's doing over there. You got guys like the Stahl brothers, Jeff Skinner. I mean, Alexander Semin. Those are great pickups. They had Yuri Tolusti. I just need some more from their middlemen. I mean, not just points, but I mean, in terms of shots and stuff like that. Goaltending, Cam Ward needs to be better. It's just as simple as that. Cam Ward has just been playing terribly. Over 3 goals against average, just cracking 9 save percentage. It hasn't been good. That's the long story short. But you know what? I think that Carolina is going to pick themselves off their boots. And again, this is the Southeast Division, and they're all clustered together. So I think that they'll actually pull it up, and they'll get 55 points in the 25 wins. That being said, second place will be the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Winnipeg Jets are going to be a threat. They are a great team. Recently, Winnipeg, and they're playing my Devils tonight, which I'm going to watch real soon. But they're playing amazingly. I mean, they are just great. They started off struggling, but they've won 4 of their past 5. Let's make it 4 of the 6. But they play some games where they could potentially win. So that's that. But Winnipeg, they've been good. I mean, they've had Evander Kane, Ladd, and Blake Wheeler, which is just a great first line. Their second line even is decent, and their defense has been picking it up. I mean, Dustin Byfuglien and Tobias Enstrom have just been great. Pavlik has not been that great, but Al Montoya as a backup who's played a few games, he's done well. They just need to pick up maybe goaltending a little bit. I think that's the Southeast problem. It's the defense and the goaltending have been less than expected. All right, move on to notes. Sorry, not notes. What am I saying? All right, so we move on to the predictions. So 53 points for Winnipeg. That's what I predict. 24 wins. Okay, 24 wins. Then we move on to the third place team, which will be Florida. I predict it's Florida. Florida right now has some injuries that they need to clear up. They got Christopher Stieg on injured reserve. They got Scotty Upshaw, and they got Eddie Jovanovski also on injured reserve. Let's look at their past 4 or 5 games. Not that great. They're 2-3. They've lost a ton of overtime games, but you know what? Florida, once they get all those guys back, they're going to be a good team. They started off with 5 straight losses or something like that. They started with 5 out of 6 losing. Then they had 4 straight wins. So it's just all about the streaks for them. What's been great is Jonathan Huberdeau, who's just been great, a great draft pickup, and I think that he just could excel. They just got to figure out a little bit with goaltending, because their goaltending, as I said, with a lot of these Southeast teams, their goaltending sucks, and they got to really pick it up. They've got 2 key names, Taylor Clemenson. I don't know if Markstrom is that great yet. He's still in his early stages of his career. So I predict the Florida Panthers to be 49 points and 21 wins. All right, so we got Tampa. The Tampa Bay Lightning now. Tampa Bay, they're a team that should be more, but recently they have kind of tailed. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. They've lost, 7 out of their last 10. They're sort of on a losing streak going on, and it's not looking good for Tampa. They started out like crazy, and it's not looking good. And I've seen this. They're plummeting down. Steven Stamkos, you can't ask for more. Marty St. Louis, in his old age, dude, 20 assists in his old age, 24 points. Teddy Purcell, a guy who I loved, who was on my fantasy team last year, getting good. Le Cavalier, but you know what? It is their goaltending. They thought that they had this cleared up back when they got rid of Rollis, and no, Anders Lindback, a guy who's supposed to be great, ends up being good, but he can't seem to keep the puck out of his net at times. He's got an over 320 goals against average. And Matthew Garon, what kind of backup are you? Going 2-5. You got to win some games there, buddy. So Tampa, really, I predict they're going to tail off. The Southeast Division, a division that cannot be trusted. Okay, I don't mean that you can't trust. I'm just saying you can't be trusted to keep a streak going up. The only team you could trust used to be the Caps. Now you can't even trust them because they're spiraling downward. I haven't even mentioned them. So Tampa, 46 points only with 21 wins. All right, so finally we're up to our last team, the Washington Capitals. Washington, I don't even know where to begin with them. This is a team that was supposed to improve with Adam Oates. Adam Oates is a goof right now. He is not doing well at all. Mike Ribeiro, their leading scorer, which I like. He's a good player. Ovi has been progressing well. Backstrom progressing well. Besides that, there's just no production. A lot of the players you could see are sort of individually doing well. Not as a team. Not really as a team. Goaltending, I'll even let that slide a little bit because all the rest of the Southeast Division goaltending's bad. But you look at some of the plus minuses. Some of the plus minuses, some guys could be doing a little bit better. You look at their power play goals, that could be doing a little bit better. And you look at other things. It just seems that they're doing fine. They just can't seem to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And right now, I mean, the past few games they've been doing all right, winning 2 of their last 3. But where's the consistency? You know what I mean? So for Washington, their biggest problem is just basically the consistency. They're doing fine individually. They just need a consistent doing well. All right, so my prediction for them is 45 points and 20 wins in dead last in the Southeast Division. So now, quickly, I'm going to give you a rundown of seeds 1 to 8. Okay, seed number 1, we got the Boston Bruins at 65 points and 30 wins. Seed number 2, we got the Pittsburgh Penguins, 61.29 wins. Seed 3, we got the Carolina Hurricanes at 55 points and 25 wins. Seed 4, we got the Montreal Canadiens, 60 points, 28 wins. 5th seed, we got the New Jersey Devils at 25 wins and 59 points. The 6th seed, we've got Ottawa, 56 points, 26 wins. 7th, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs at 25 wins and 53 points. And the 8th seed, we got the Winnipeg Jets at 24 wins and 53 points. So those are my predictions, guys. Comment below if you have any critiques to my predictions. Please, only good critiques. I mean, I see all these videos all the time. Remember, they're mostly my opinion, guys. And plus, this is a short season, so cut me a little slack. It's tough to predict when the guys aren't fresh like this, when it's kind of just shaky up and down, streaky. Anything could happen. Some teams need a full season to really progress, so just let me know about that. Just missing the cut, we have the Rangers and we have the Florida Panthers, but it's not that close. So the teams I think that are going to make the playoffs are going to, really make the playoffs. It's not really going to come down to the wire as much as it did in the past years. But, hey, these are my Eastern Conference predictions. I'm going to be posting Western Conference predictions up soon. Not tonight, but soon. And, yeah, so that'll be it. And, so, see you guys. That was fun. And I'll do the Western Conference predictions soon. Pineapples.